Greetings, Glitter Gang, and Merry Christmas. Happy Thursday. Today is Thursday, July 28th. You're here for Kathryn Scraps Live, and we are starting the Christmas in July album today. It is going to be another, I'm going to give all the measurements. There's going to be a YouTube playlist, whatever. I am going to call this album done. Time of death, 2:04 p.m., July 28th, 2020. We could keep working on it, but I've shown you one of every single thing I wanted to show you. You have all 6 of the large page elements, or 8, or however many there are. We've done something with all of the staples. Anything I would do at this point would be a repeat of something I've already done in this album, and this album's never going to be bindable or complete as it is. So I'd rather move on to the Christmas one, which what we're going to do is we're going to correct this album's problems in terms of construction. All right, so that's the plan. The plan is to fix this problem. Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome to Christmas in July. We're just squeaking in right at the last possible minute. It's the last Thursday of July 2020. Today is book club, which means that we will be periodically discussing The Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead, a 673-page long multi-generational family drama pretending to be a book about a female aviator and the actress starring in the movie about that female aviator's life. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Christmas, all that good stuff. So anytime you see this right here in the top corner of the screen, that means we're discussing the book, and there may be spoilers for the book discussed. So if you don't want to have spoilers for Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead, when you see this icon in the upper right corner, just mute. I will not give measurements while that thing is on the screen, so you do not have to worry about missing measurements while that thing is on the screen. All right? Okay. All right, so welcome to everyone. Hello to Kathryn. How are you? Excuse me. Kathryn wishes everyone a happy Thursday. Carol Joan says Merry Christmas. So thank you, Carol Joan. Merry Christmas to you. Donna, hello. Scrapper EM. Oh, Scrapper I am. One of those. Probably Scrapper I am. Time is passing too quickly for me to get into Christmas, but glad I finally made a live from Omaha, Nebraska. Welcome, Scrapper. The reason we do Christmas in July on this channel is because of how slow I am. I'm like a snail. And so the only way for the Christmas album to happen anywhere near Christmas time for you to be prepared for the holidays is for me to do it in July. And just as an example, I think last year's Halloween album we finished in December. Yeah. So that's just, you know, what you have to, once you know your limitations, right, as a person, then you can, you know, kind of work around them. And so that's where Christmas in July comes from here on this channel. Of course, you can always just wait and do it in December, whatever floats your boat, or decorate, follow along, but decorate with paper that's not Christmas. Okay. Because we are going to keep, it's going to be a non-Christmassy base. The album base will be totally versatile. You can use it for any type of paper. Hello to Gretchen and Melanie. How are you guys? Melanie has a movie date with her hubby, so she may have to get out early to go see Thor. Welcome. I hope you enjoy Thor. Kathryn asks, Dreaming of Sugar Plums, which is in the title if you're watching this on YouTube, is that Kathy's new paper? It is Kathy's new paper. So yesterday, Kathy texted me that she made a paper collection for Halloween that was very spooky, and she knew that I liked spooky Halloween collections, and did I want to do a Halloween album with it? And I said, I do, but I'm starting Christmas in July tomorrow. Have you done all the holidays? Do you have a Christmas? And she said, yes, I do have a Christmas. So she invited me to the folders. There's 2 of them. There's a 12 by 12 and an 8.5 by 11. I'm going to show you both of them. I didn't print them yet because I wanted to talk to you about which one to use. But the other thing is they're on sale right now. So if you're watching this live, or, you know, within a few days of July 28th. You can, using the links in the video description, get this paper for, I believe, half off is what it is. So this Christmas paper is half off right now. So I have linked it in the video description. If you're watching in the archives, there won't be a link, but you can go. I just searched to look at it, paper phenomenon sugar plums, and that's how I came across it. Gretchen says it always starts off so great and then we go way overboard. It's true. It's true. I'm gonna try to not do that with the Christmas album. So we'll talk about that. But I think we can do it. I think we can keep this contained enough. And good news, everyone, we just got the wedding photos from the photographer. So if we want to, we can do, photos in the wedding album. So that's something to think about. If you want to see an album crafted with photos, for the next project to do a wedding album. So that's, we may do that. And I can't make a live, so I probably need to start Christmas in January. There you go. Like I said, once you know your unique limitations, then you can craft your schedule to accommodate them. So like I said, that's why we do Christmas in July here, because it's the only way you'd ever get a Christmas album. All right, so that's what's going on. So Vintage Staples album, we learned a lot. There's lots of good stuff in there that you can incorporate into tons of different albums. So go ahead and check out that playlist. The album may not be finished, but it did teach us a lot, I feel. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the computer and show you the two collections. I'm going to talk about how they're different from each other. And then we can decide if we want to use 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11, or possibly both. You tell me. Let's talk it through. Let me just get this up on the paper and let me make the icons large. How do I do that? View, that's right. Extra large icons. There we go. I haven't turned on the computer yet, so you are not missing anything yet. So let's pop over here. All right, so I'm going to switch to the PC desktop. Okay, there we go. And my microphone is still on. The PC desktop microphone is the same as the craft desktop microphone, but sometimes the PC one is not on. I don't understand why that is, but that's okay. Okay, so this is Dreaming of Sugar Plums. This is the 12 by 12. All right. So if I double click, there we go. So I'm just going to click through them. You can see it's like a pinkish, it's got pinky purple vibes, so it's a little bit different. I think we could probably find a fun cardstock color in the ColorMates Smooth and Silky. Maybe make a rose base or a purple base or this blue. I think we could do it. As you can see, big images, a lot of big images, which is not necessarily a problem. It just depends on what we want to do. So this is the big one. So, and then we have some medium prints and then some solid types. So there's quite a variety. Here's some sequins. This is kind of a reverse punchinella. And then here are the elements. I do love the, can we negotiate? Yes. Here we have pets, dogs and cats. And then letters to Santa, naughty and nice list. Lots of fun elements in this. These look to me like they're digital stamps. And then solids, backgrounds. Okay. And I do like, and then solids. So almost like you get colored cardstock with this one. More elements. And definitions I love. And that's it. Okay, so that's a 12 by 12. So here's the 8.5 by 11. So here's what I want to talk about. I think this 8.5 by 11, I assume it's meant to be printed on 8.5 by 11 sheets. But this is done almost like a notebook. as you can see here. So the reason I said, should we do one or the other or what, is I have this idea. Remember how when I was talking about the Christmas album, definitely doing a file folder album, of course we'll do that. That's what we're going to do. This is going to be a functional file folder album, so you can take like what we kind of started with from that previous album with the Vintage Staples album into something that has the standard Kathryn Scraps binding, or I said we would do split decision binding and maybe put smaller elements in between the file folders. Here's the thought that I had, is that if these are indeed 8.5 by 11 folded in half, they're roughly 5.5 by 8.5. So we could put these in between, if we used these as like the main visual focal points or whatever, of whatever we put in between the pages, then they would be, we would just size to this paper so that we would just be getting the whole paper. What are your thoughts about that? I should have been clicking through them the whole time so you could see them. But that's kind of what I was thinking. We could make smaller things to go in between them. Out of these, we don't actually have to make the junk journal. You know, we could figure out something to do with them. You know, where we could just use this. And then for those of you who just have a normal size printer and you don't have a wide format printer, you can't print the 12 by 12s, you can make an album out of just the in-between things. Just the in-between things. And I think that would be, I don't know, I think that would be fun. But I'll leave it up to you because it is more expensive if we do this, because you do have to buy 2 paper collections. However, like I said, they're both on sale right now, so they're both half off. So price-wise, you know, it's the same as buying 1 paper collection at full price. So those are them. So that's all of them. All right. So that's all the paper. I'm going to just reverse through it because I skipped over the elements. So here are the elements. And the elements do appear to be different. So if you buy both collections, you are getting different elements across both collections. So anyway, just something to noodle on. But okay, so they are confirming in the video chat that it is designed with the intention of being a journal. So let me switch back to the craft desk. That it is designed with the intention of being a journal. So what I'm going to do then is let's just do both of them. If you don't want to buy both paper collections, you can buy the one that most speaks to you and just do that piece of the album. We will do split decision. And that's it. That's all we need to know right now to get started. So what we're going to be working on today is album planning and construction. And then we will, I'll print these so that for tonight I have them. So that I have them for tonight, okay? Oh, no. I need to print one. I need to print at least one because why? Why? Because we need to pick our cardstock. So let me just print one sheet that kind of has all of the colors represented that I feel like is a good indicator of what the mood of the collection is. And then we'll go from there. So let me open with Photoshop Elements. And I'm just going to print it literally just right in the middle of a sheet so that it's just, you know, I'm not going to mess around trying to get cards on the sheet or anything like that. I'll do that later tonight. All right, so print. And change settings to Super B high quality. Okay, 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 print. All right, so I'm going to print this, and I'm going to print this on, I'm actually just trying to figure out what paper I have the most of. Okay, I'm going to print this on Koala, and just so you know, Koala makes paper look a little bluer than it might actually be. So depending on your printer, the paper may not be quite as quite as blue for you. And that's just, you know, every paper print's different. If you have access to the archives, I have, if you search in the archives, I have videos on the different results you can get from different paper settings on your printer software and different papers themselves. And the paper that's always going to be closest to what the designer had in mind is going to be whatever paper is your manufacturer. So like in my case, the paper that's the closest to my printer is the paper made by Epson, but I have an Epson printer. You know, so the printer is kind of like, you know, they had the printer, they had the inks all in mind when they made the paper. And so like if you have a Hewlett Packard, then it's probably going to be Hewlett Packard, etc. Canon. I don't know. Who else makes these printers? It's probably the only, I don't know. That's probably it. You understand. Even if I can't name every printer company, I know you get it because you are smart individuals. So the reason I'm printing this sheet is that we will be able to then bring out the swatch book for the ColorMates Smooth and Silky cardstock, and that will tell us which paper, if we want to do maybe an offbeat base, which color is going to work best. You know, can we do a pink? Can we do a purple? And if not, maybe we'll just do something like a brown or a dark green, you know. We'll see. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. This paper is making my printer work hard. It's still printing. Okay, wow. Almost there. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right. Here we go. Okay. All right. There we go. So here it is. Okay, so now I'm going to get out my swatch book. And let's see. Okay. Okay, so right off the bat, this gray is actually in the collection. I don't think I want a paper collection or to do an album with this particular gray as the base, but it is interesting that it is in the collection. We could do charcoal. Let me just skip past the grays. We can come back to them. And then here also we have some representation. Actually, this one might be closer, I think. The cream. Oh, no, ivory. Ivory. Yeah. I mean, maybe. This is, it's not quite. Not quite. Cocoa actually could be a good one. So, because certainly cocoa is an option. I think brown too. And brown is very purple, so I don't use it that much. Because you can see cocoa is kind of more of a brown color, and that brown is extremely dark. It's actually purple. I mean, brown is orange or purple, really, just dark orange, dark purple. So this is a darkish purple. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. If you see one that speaks to you and you think, oh, we got to have that one, let me know in the chat. And it's a subscriber only chat. You only have to be subscribed to my channel for 60 seconds in order to chat. So not that long. Ooh. I'm just kind of skipping past all the reds because we don't need them. Now the maroon is the one I've liked the best so far. It's going to pull out these darker colors because it is darker. It makes a good base for an album because it's not going to show like dirt or oil from fingerprints as much as lighter colors will. And it's still in the red family, so it's still in the kind of traditional Christmas colors, although it's an atypical Christmas color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark that one, and then we're going to continue on. Now caramel is also represented in the collection, although caramel is a little green compared to the collection, so maybe we can do better. Pumpkin would be better, I think, but I don't like pumpkin better than maroon, so I don't think I'm gonna mark it. And also cayenne pepper is a good one, but I also don't think cayenne pepper is gonna be better. All right, let's look in the greens. We got to green. And this sage is an interesting one. I see a little bit of it here because there is a kind of grayer green in this collection. But so it's definitely, it would fit in the sort of same as maroon, where it is, you know, it's same idea as traditional, but different. Traditional just turned a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. But here's the thing. So you can see sometimes when you see paper together, if the cardstock's enhancing the paper or dragging it down. So see when I put it on the maroon, how it brightens it up. And when I say it, I'm referring to the pattern paper, the designer paper, okay? So you see when I put the designer paper on the maroon, it kind of perks it up and it looks a little bit brighter. I mean, this is subtle. It's not magic or anything. But see, this isn't doing anything for this. This isn't adding to the album. If anything, maybe it's subtracting a little bit. Sometimes you might want that. You might want your paper to be more muted. You might want a more serene vibe to your album, okay? But I don't in this case. So I like this much better. Okay, so that's just something to think about. That's why I made this swatch book with such large swatches, because it really does help me to visualize exactly how something's going to look. So Gretchen says she was thinking of maroon before I even got to maroon. And so, you know, I almost jumped ahead to maroon because I knew it was there. Now here's spruce. And spruce is another one, again, like maroon. It's green, so it's a traditional Christmas color. However, it's not, this isn't Christmas green or what I would think of as Christmas green necessarily. And unlike whatever one I looked at before, spruce, I believe, is adding to the paper collection. The difference is it's adding to it in a cool way. So it's making come forward the greenery. So I see the greenery more intensely now, the ornaments less so. So again, I'm going to go flip to maroon so that you can see the difference. So, okay, so when you see it with the maroon, you see how the ornaments come forward more rather than the greenery. So this one has the intensity, but almost like a cooler, crisper, frostier look, a more wintry look. This one is more, I think, like of a party look. Really, it's subtle. I mean, no one who's looking through your album is going to be like, if only there was a maroon cardstock here. You know what I mean? You can just do whatever you like. Right now, I think we're between, for me, spruce and maroon. So what I'm going to do is just going to mark both of them now. All right. And then it's just a little bit easier once we get to this point. Now here we have, do we want to do something like really weird? Do like a purple. That violet's a little too punchy. If this violet was just a little less punchy, Oh, this is midnight. I never use midnight. This is an extremely dark navy is what this is. So, and actually it's not bad. I don't like it better than spruce or maroon. And then this is flag blue, which is, I've used a ton of flag blue, but I don't think it works for this. All right, this is sapphire, which is a very purple blue. And this one is interesting as well. I thought this one might work. When I saw the purplish elements to the paper, I thought sapphire might work. I'm going to probably go with no on sapphire, if only because there is a lot of a similar color in the collection. I don't want it to be like too much blue, because blue is a tough one to work with. All right, it's down between spruce and maroon, so I'm going to do a poll. Let me start the poll, and then I'll show you your options, okay? I'll just flip back and forth between them. So let me make a poll. And then once I know which one, I'll put a link in the chat, as well as I'll update the video description to indicate which one we chose. I'll put a link to it. Okay, so the poll is in the chat now. And when you're answering, if you take a minute to like this video, be sure you're subscribed to the channel. I do new videos every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. So you can join us here on Kathryn Scraps Live every week. Every week. How exciting is that? Wow, poor Spruce hasn't gotten a single vote yet. Poor Spruce. Oh, it's not letting me vote. I was going to pity vote for Spruce, but I can't vote. Apparently I can't vote in my own poll. So, I can't vote. Oh, someone pity voted for Spruce. Thank you. Thank you. I felt bad for it. Okay. I think we have our answer, though. So let me go see if I can find the maroon cardstock. All right. How much maroon do I have? I probably should have checked because I know I've used the maroon, but it looks like you can see this big gap in between the two pieces. I must have bought a new maroon at some point. So okay, I have 24 sheets of maroon. What we might do is we might do the construction for all of the file folders and then see how much maroon we have left over, and we might do the insides with spruce. Okay, so the inserts with spruce. All right, so that may be what we do. We may use both of them just to give me plenty of cardstock to work with, and then depending on how much I use, you'll then know how much you need to order from the paper mill store. So if you look in the video description, you'll see a link to the paper mill store and to that'll take you to the ColorMates Smooth and Silky cardstock page, which is the parent page for this like particular line of cardstock. And then from there, you just search for the word silky, as in silky smooth, because it's ColorMates Smooth and Silky, and then the color you're looking for. So silky maroon or silky, I'm going to pull out the brown cardstock as well, just in case I want something dark to read as black, but I don't want to use black in this album. So I've got brown, I've got maroon, and I've got spruce. Those are the three I'm pulling now. Spruce is in the middle of the stack of cardstock I still haven't put away. I think it's been sitting here for a year. I think it will never get put away. So, Spoiler alert, I don't think it's ever getting put away. All right. Okay. So here we go. See, look how dark spruce really is. That's it next to the brown, and the brown reads as black. So spruce is quite a dark green. Very dark green. It's actually quite nice. So I've got, once again, spruce, brown, and maroon. So if you wanted to order all three of these, then you would put silky brown, and then it will come up in the big pack, the small pack, and then the 8.5 by 11 big pack and small pack, or silky maroon or silky. I have to write maroon on this because I don't have the little label because it's attached to its divider. Okay, so that's what we'll do. We'll do maroon. For the main pages, we'll do spruce for the insert pages, and we'll do brown for any elements, grounding, that sort of stuff. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna set all this to the side. So this is gonna be the planning video, all right? So here's the main element. Let me get a notebook. Okay. All right, now let's talk about the difference in, let's talk about how we're gonna do this binding. So we're gonna have a 1-inch gutter, and because we'll do split decision, halfway through that 1-inch gutter will be the insert page, so it'll have a 1/2 inch on either side. Then the main page, then another 1-inch gutter, main page, 1-inch gutter, final main page, final 1-inch gutter, and then we'll do these insert pages. So we'll have 4 inserts, okay? So full size times 3, insert times 4. Now with split decision, it's the full size pages that determines how many. So what split decision is essentially is it's the infinity binding with a super large gutter, and then we manipulate that gutter into allowing us to put another page, okay? And split decision has to have TYVEK. So split decision is, because it makes a huge book. So think about this. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4-inch spine just to have these 3 pages. Now technically we have 7 pages. So a 4-inch spine for 7 pages is not bad at all. But a 4-inch spine is a big spine. That's a lot of pressure on the cardstock. And because we are going to be like cutting into the binding and removing parts of it, it is going to be prone to tearing. So I'm going to write here TYVEK necessary. Okay, so what I'm going to say is I would not attempt this binding unless you have TYVEK. If the link doesn't work for you, just go to thepapermillstore.com and then just in the search bar type silky maroon, silk. Well, if you want to see all the colors, just type silky by itself. And then if you want to see the specific colors, it's silky brown, silky maroon, and silky spruce. If you say the word silky a lot, it starts to really feel weird in your mouth. Okay, so we're going to do split decision. So 1 inch. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make an infinity binding with a 1-inch gutter, all right? Now, how big do we want to make these pages, friends? Let's think about that. if we make the covers 8.5 by 11 and we make the file folders 8 by 10, how about that? I think that sounds good. Let's do covers 8.5 by 11, folders 8 by 10, inserts are going to be, I think 5.5 by 8.5, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to print those. Let me print one and see what size it prints if you don't adjust it. I'm going to end the poll also while I'm over here. I'm just going to quickly print one of those, friends, because I just want to know how big they are on their own. So let me try and print. You're going to use 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Be nice. Okay. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay. I don't think anything will be bigger. If we have an 8.5 by 11 cover, you can use 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Right? Because, yeah. I like that I'm asking you. Whose class is this? Whose class is this? I mean, you might as well ask Candy. She's made enough of these. She's made enough of these over the years. So you might as well just ask Candy. All right. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just drop this on here, and it actually looks like it is 8.5 by 11 borderless, which means that if you can do borderless printing, it will print 8.5 by 11 on your computer or on your printer. So it looks like they're truly 8.5 by 11. So I'm just going to print this really quickly so I can just measure it to be sure. But, you know, just looking at the grid in Photoshop, that's what it looks like to me. You can also ask and then just do whatever you want anyway. It's true. That's another thing you can do. All right. Okay, so I'm going to get this printing. I'm not going to stand over it while it prints because we don't really need to wait on the answer exactly, but we'll see. Okay. All right, so then we will make the inserts 5.5 by 8.5 is what we'll do. And then, okay. All right, so step one is 3-page infinity. Infinity becomes split decision if you surgery it. So, all right, there we go. Okay. All right, now. So infinity binding, if we're doing 8.5 by 11, I can use 12 by 12 cardstock to do the whole page and the back of the folder, part of the folder. So here's what we're going to do. To make a fin for the brown is the color brown. That's its name. So not cocoa. Cocoa would look good as well if you already have cocoa, but the very dark brown that kind of reads as black, that color's name is brown. So, so infinity binding is, it looks like this. It's a flap of, it's a piece of cardstock and it's scored to make this kind of V with a flat bottom. But if you want to, and if the pages are narrow enough, you can add you can cut it so that it's like the whole page is coming off one thing, so you then don't have to come back and attach the page to it. And in this case, we need to be able to add 2 inches to the width of the page in order to do it. And my page is 8.5 by 11. I have 12 by 12 cardstock, so I can do it 10.5. And so I can do it. It's fine. You're welcome, Mandy. Yeah, we did look at cocoa, but the one I pulled out is brown. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 4 sheets of the maroon. I've already hidden the cardstock from myself, so we're in good shape. All right, so we're going to quickly whip the binding together. So what do I need? 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, so I'm going to cut 3 of these down to 10.5 by 11. And I want the grain to run down the length. So what I mean by that is when you test your cardstock for the grain, and what you do is, the way you test for grain is you push very lightly, and how easy it folds. If it folds stiffly, like this is kind of stiff, that means that the grain is running in the opposite direction. Okay, if it folds easy like this, it means it's running down the middle. So you want the 10.5 side to be running down. So 10.5 by 11, okay? And you want 3 of those, 3 that are 10.5 by 11. Now, if you want to use 8.5 by 11 cardstock, all right, which like Candy does, then all you would do is you would make 3 8.5 by 11 pages, okay, and then you would make 4 3-inch by 11 strips, okay. Now, in my case, I only need 1 3-inch by 11-inch strip, and that's because I have these pages made with the extensions. You know, I've been making infinity bindings for a long time, and I feel like this may be the most confusing way I've ever described it. I mean, you tell me, but I feel like maybe my brain is still not back to 100%. Okay, so this is an infinity binding strip. And this is 3 inches by 11 inches. I'm going to score it at 1 inch and at 2 inches because we want that 1-inch gutter in the middle. And then we have a 1-inch flap on either side. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it end over end, and I'm going to score it at 1.5, which is in the middle of the gutter. And this is where the split's going to be for the split decision. Okay. Now, if you are using 8.5 by 11, you actually will just make 4 of these. 4 of these. Okay? If you're not, if you're doing 12 by 12 and you're doing 10.5 by 11, then what you do is you would score at 1 on the 10.5-inch side. You would score at 1 and at 2. 1 and 2. I jumped out of my gutter there. And then you would flip it end over end like this so that the score lines stay at 1 and at 2, and then you score at 1.5. So you see what I mean when I say it's the binding strip but with the page added. Okay, it's the binding strip but with the page added. All right, there's the difference. Now, the reason I put that fold in split decision is because split decision will fold on its own. So I like to put the score line there so that when it goes to fold, it's kind of got its own place where it's going to fold already. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to fold all along all the score lines and burnish. Okay, so we're going to get something that looks like this, like a very weird W. Okay? Okay. All right, now we'll continue folding along all the score lines and burnishing. And it is an accordion fold. All right, and once again, all the videos for this will be in the archives as well as on YouTube in a playlist. They'll be available in the archives today, and then they'll come out over the next few days on YouTube. So they will all be out by the next time we do a show, or you know, by next, all those shows from this Thursday will be out by next Thursday, so you can catch up if you're, say, watching this on Friday the 29th or something like that. Okay, now, all right, so now what we're going to do is, while they're still apart from each other, we need to make our marks for where we're going to put our holes for our split decision. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to subtract the width, the length of your insert from the length of your, I can't make these pages 8 by 10 if I want to do an 8.5 by 11 binding. They have to be 11 inches. Let me just think for a second. Can I do them 8.5 by 11? Did I actually measure this as if they're 8.5 by 11? Is this, did I actually correct my mistake while I was making my mistake? I did. I made them 8.5 by 11. The pages are 8.5 by 11. Okay. So obviously subconscious Kathryn is smarter than conscious Kathryn. Okay. They do. Let's make them 8.5 by 11. The cover will have to be a little bit larger, but that'll be okay. Okay. So they're 11 inches long. I'm going to subtract 8.5 from that, which is the length of the insert, and that gives me 2.5. And so I then divide that by 2, which is 1 1/4. I'm still going to divide it by 2 just so you can see, but it's 1 1/4. So 1 1/4 is where we're going to make our line. I like how it's already, the album is already deranged. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so this is the front, the part where it's pointing up, okay? Right? Yeah. Pointing up is the front, okay? So on the back is where we want to make our 1 1/4. So I'm going to just line it up with my mat and make a line at 1 1/4. And you can use a pen or a pencil because this is not going to be seen. So I'll use a pen so that it's easier for you to see on camera. I lost my pen. Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. All right, so your line needs to go across, just the center line really is where you need it. So you can go ahead and do it across all 3 lines or just the center line, whichever feels better to you. And then do one on the other side as well. Okay, now using a 1/16 inch hole punch, which in my case will be the Power Punch from We Are Memory Keepers, the blue one. You're going to punch a hole at the intersection of the line you just drew and the score line. And this can be hard to see if you have old eyes like I do. So I'm gonna put a white dot there to help myself. It's hard to see because of how small the hole is on that. Okay. So hopefully I'll be able to see it better with the white dot. Oh yeah, much easier. Okay. Okay. So now you can see we've got those 2 dots. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to mark the other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and make those lines. And again, the back, this is the front where it's poking up. So I'm just going to go flatten it out and then line them up. And then that way I know where to do all of them. And I don't have to individually measure each one. Okay. All right, now once you have done that, you can punch all those holes. All right, so I've punched all those holes. So the next step is I need to remove the strip of paper that's in between each hole. All right, so I'm gonna get out my glass mat and a ruler. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove that score line in between the holes. So I'm just gonna line my ruler up with the score line and cut from hole to hole and then flip it around and do it on the other side as well. And that's going to take out a tiny sliver of paper in between the holes. Okay. So, oop, I didn't get all the way through on the bottom here. All right, so now you can see we have that slit. And you can see it's a thin piece of paper. Okay, you're just cutting out the score line. That's all you're doing. Okay, so you can see just the score line, just the score line. You're not cutting it like 1/8 of an inch. That's why I used a 1/16 inch hole punch, because that makes it a little bit smaller. All right. And what I do is I just push the ruler until it bumps into the score line, and then I cut. And okay, that time it fell right out. There you go. So you see you're getting very, very sharp, very thin little bits. The reason you want to remove some paper is because if you just cut from hole to hole, you're going to stick 2 papers width of paper through this. And so if you just cut from hole to hole, you won't really have enough room for that. I don't think I cut all the way. There we go. Yeah. Sometimes you can feel that you didn't cut all the way. And then that one cut all the way through. All right. And now last one is this strip. And this is what we'll be using to attach our pages to the book. Okay. Now, when you're making this, you can feel how weak this gets because you only have this paper right here and this paper right here. Now, the reason we punch that hole is so that it becomes harder for this to continue its run. The hole kind of makes a stopping place so that you don't tear all the way through to the end. However, over time, with people using it, manipulating it, whatever, you are gonna get it torn. So what I'm gonna do next is we wanna reinforce this. So I'm gonna cut some strips of TYVEK, and we're gonna glue them to it to reinforce it. Now, oh, I have black TYVEK again. I was gonna say I ran out of black TYVEK, so I have to use these envelopes, but I did, but I have TYVEK again. So I finally used up all the TYVEK that Fran sent me, so I had to order the roll that she cut my pieces off from. Look how big this thing is. Let me show you. I've never seen it before. This is the first time I've had it, but the difference between cutting the slit and gluing a hinge on the gutter is that you don't see the hinge for the insert because it's on the back. So it looks cleaner on the inside of the album because it comes up from the back through the slit. So it just looks nicer from the front because you don't see the seams. So it's only visual, it's not structural. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the hinge on the back, glue the hinge to the back and have it come up through the front. Oh my gosh, this plastic is like as strong as a house. Oh no. Oop, there we go. Do you think I need this black thing? Probably not. I'm going to keep it anyway. Okay. Anyway, Candy, did that make sense? It's just to disguise the hinge. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try very hard to keep this from, this is house wrapping size TYVEK for sure. Oh wow, this is hard to cut. Okay, I'm going to have to let it roll off my desk and cut across. So I'll be cutting it off camera. Yeah, if you order this black TYVEK, you need a place to store it. A place to cut it. Now I'm guessing that the black thing is to hold it to the wall. So that you can just pull it down and cut it off. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think 3 strips is more than enough. That's interesting, Kathryn. I'm going to leave my TYVEK in its tube so it doesn't unroll and ruin my life. All right. Okay. All right. So we need strips of this to go from this score line off the edge, basically. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut them to 10.5. And hopefully I made them wide enough. All right. I mean, I cut them like a deranged lunatic, so. Okay, that's 4, so I'm going to cut this. I feel like the last roll of TYVEK I had was not this dark. This one does actually seem darker than the one that Fran sent me. I wonder if they changed something about it. Okay, so I need 8 of them total. No, I don't. I just need 4. All right. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get liquid glue because liquid glue works best for TYVEK. All right. And I'm going to get my matte protector because I'm going to be making a mess probably. All right. So we want to glue the TYVEK. Oh, darn it. You might want to ask, why does this always happen? I just realized that you're going to see the TYVEK. Oh, no, you're not. Because it's going to be, even though it's on the back, because we made the page, you're going to see the TYVEK if I wrap it on, if I put it on both score lines. Because it's going to come up the back. So what I have to decide is what I'm going to do about that. I can short it. Oh no, I won't because it'll be hidden under the flap of the next. Never mind. Okay. Never mind. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Well, Stormy had to go to the vet because he just has been getting too skinny. So we wanted to make sure it wasn't anything, you know, other than we wanted to make sure he was just being picky with his food or something like that, and it wasn't something like an infection or whatever. So we're still waiting to hear from the vet on his tests. But they gave him something to boost his appetite, and he's eating normally now. And he's already put on like half a pound. So, and he's totally fine, and he's not being weird about, I mean, he's being picky with his food, but he's asking for food several times a day. Okay, so this is the front, so we want to keep the front clean. So when I stick this down, I just want to make sure that I'm not ending up pushing like a ton of the glue through here. So I'm just going to try and flatten this out. And then, because I want to keep the mess on the back as much as possible. And of course I used my messiest glue because I like to live on the edge. All right. I've cleaned it up a little bit, so now I'm just gonna use my bone folder to push the glue from the center of the TYVEK to the edge so that I know that it's all the way out. And then what I'm going to do is carefully pick this up. Okay. Now that the back is, you know, mostly clean, I'm just going to set it down again there. I'm going to clean the mat itself because I'm trying to keep my, even though this glue dries matte, you know, I'm trying to keep the destruction to the front to a minimum. Okay. Ooh, the black is coming off the TYVEK, and now it's gray underneath, so I'm not sure you do want this TYVEK, friends. All right, so now that that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the TYVEK flush with the edge of the piece. Okay, so I can go ahead and discard this. I'm just gonna really press it down here. Okay, we will come and remove that later, but I'm gonna just let it sit under this to help it stay flat while it dries, and then we'll go on to the next one. So anyway, so he seems like he's already feeling much better. So hopefully he was just going through a picky phase with his food. Cats are so dramatic. Oh my goodness. What's their deal? Okay. And remember, the front is the one that pushes up. Okay, so you want to be working on the back. Yeah, hopefully whatever, hopefully if he has something, it's very simple. Now they said he wasn't dehydrated at all, and Stormy is the cat that likes water the most. Like, he's always drinking out of the water bowls. So I don't suspect a kidney issue. I would be surprised if it was something like that, but you never know. So that's why he had to go to the vet. And then Tiny Cat is actually in the room with me now. She's in her house, in her little house. So she's sleeping and being quiet, but she's up here. And then I'm just holding this in place while I push, so I'm not running the paper through the glue, you know what I mean? And then once again, I'm gonna just carefully peel it up and flip it over. clean my mat so I don't transfer any of this glue. And then just gonna tidy this up a little bit and trim the big pieces off the edges. Take your time with this. The reason we're doing it first is so it has plenty of time to dry. Taking your time with this, using liquid glue, all of that, this is where the longevity of your album comes in, okay? You know, that's where you're gonna get your lasting power. All right, so then I'm going to pick this up and stick it under the desk with its other one. Just make sure they're not touching each other. Okay. And then I'm just going to run over this with the wipe just in case there's any glue that escaped before I set it aside. So you don't want to let liquid glue dry on your glass mat or else it'll make a bump. And the reason I have to bring out the glass mat is because otherwise I'll cut this. Cats have a lot of kidney issues because they're desert animals. And so they evolved to get most of their moisture, most of their water that they need from the blood of animals they kill. And so they are averse to water and they don't like to drink water, most cats. And they just have evolved out of the habit of drinking water. And so that's a major reason for why they get kidney disease, is because they are desert. They evolved in the desert and they don't, oh, this is the front. Okay, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But yeah, just that's why I've been checking each time. The front is the part that pushes up, so we need to go, this is the back. Whee! All right. Check that every time. All right, and then I'm gonna set that there. Again, just try to flatten this as well as I can. And then put this TYVEK down. Now, if you don't have TYVEK, you know, you could use like a bookbinding tape or gaffer tape or something like that. Book repair tape, the stuff which is what they use to repair pages of books that have come apart. All of that, you can use all of that instead of the TYVEK, but yeah, we gave them, they have water fountains. That's what we did. We put in water fountains, and Stormy is always at the water fountain. Now, Tiny Cat, because she's deep down, she's evil. Don't let her sweet cries fool you. But she, okay, so I'm just going to carefully pick this. Oh, no, you don't want that to happen. I'm going to pick that up and set it to the side and then clean the glue off the mat. But she likes to wait until you have a brand new, full, fresh glass of water and then drink out of it so it's contaminated and you can't drink it anymore. And then she only wants to drink like 6 sips. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put this underneath as well. Oh, wait, no, I got to trim it first. But if you can't get TYVEK in sheets like this, you can get those envelopes that I showed you at the beginning. That's an option, of course. All right. Okay, so we just have one last one to do. All right, this is the back because it's got the dip. Candy says that one of her cats can tell somehow if you have an ice cube. And if you have an ice cube in your beverage, you cannot leave your beverage unattended because she can sense it. And she'll come and contaminate your glass. Oh, she tips it over to get at the ice. Even worse. Making a mess. Tiny cat, don't get any ideas. You better not be listening. My sister and I went to see Marcel the Shell yesterday. We thought it was just going to be a cute comedy, but it was so sad. I mean, it's also funny. We were laughing, but man, just bring a box of tissues if you go see that. Goodness gracious. All right. Last little bit to clean up. It's okay if it doesn't go all the way to the top on your, you know, you see how there's no TYVEK on that upper corner. That's not a big deal. It's just a slit is the most important thing. You want this whole slit area to have it. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is we shall put this underneath something to dry, and then we'll do a recording break here, and in another video I will show you how to put these together, but I'm going to let them dry until tonight's show. So what I'm going to do is in the playlist and in the archives, when I number the videos, I'm going to number them technically out of order. So this will be video 1. Whatever video I do next, like the other half of the back half of this show, will be, well, hold on. Well, I can probably, actually they feel dry enough. I think I could work with them. So I'll just keep, this will just be one long video that has the whole binding. Okay, so I no longer need this. So I can go ahead and set this to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and get out my craft knife. So what I'm going to do is I can feel that it's still wet. So maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how well we do with removing the TYVEK. If you're not confident with your craft knife, you can use a ruler. You know, you don't have to freehand this. Okay, and then you just take a detailed scissor and snip them from the top and bottom. All right, there we go. Okay. So now you can see we have the slit back. All right. Oh, yes. Thank you, Kathleen. I didn't trim the edge off that last one before I stuck it underneath. So let me just finish this and then I can, oh, this one. And then I can go grab it. I guess I could have trimmed them all at the same time. All right, so I'm just gonna make sure it's totally separated. See how it's not, it's like stuck right there. So anywhere it's kind of stuck, you can just go back over that little section and then make sure you get the whole thing cut. Okay. All right, so let me okay. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and just trim this gutter. All right, and now I'm gonna flip it around. Okay. So Mr. Lifeguard is currently in Savannah on their one of their planning headquarters planning things. He said that today they have a meeting with like prominent local business people and like the owner of the, well, not the owner, but like the head of marketing for the Savannah Bananas, which is a baseball team. I'm guessing it's their like minor league or AAA or whatever team. But which has, I guess they told them that they decided to take a fan fun first. That's how they have, see, okay, so see here, I tore, the cardstock tore a little bit. I don't know if you can see it, but if you cut this when it's too wet, you can you can maybe wrinkle your cardstock. So just, I'm just gonna hold it down. See if no, I can't. It's too wet. So you do need to give it time to dry. You do need to give it time to dry. So I'm gonna let this one alone. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these back under the desk because they do need their time to keep drying. So like I am going to still do this in different stages, but the next video will be how to make the pieces that go in between these. All right. So then I'm going to do a recording break here. I'm going to, well, let those dry. And then we're going to make the pieces that go in between them. And then first thing tonight, we can put them all together. So I'll show you how to make the in-between things. And I'll be right back. So if you're watching live, just hang tight. Nothing's going to change for you. If you're watching the archives, or if you're watching the archives, then just go ahead to the next video to see those insert pieces get made. And if you're watching on YouTube, same thing, go to the next video in the playlist to see how to make those inserts. So thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you're watching live, just hang tight and I'll see you soon. Bye now.